Hey everyone, welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. If you're looking at the bearded one, it's Monday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Mountain. Oh, I'm sorry, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 2 out in Hawaii, 5 a.m. tomorrow morning out in Indonesia, and about 9 a.m. tomorrow out in Australia. Welcome everybody to Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. As I said, my name is Tom Springer, and I am the host of the show. If you are a first-time person here, welcome to the show. Feel free to ask questions, make comments, all that wonderful stuff. We appreciate that. If you are a repeat offender, also known as a family, welcome back. You know how the game works. We're going to have a guest on here shortly, and I'm just going to run her in here shortly. But ask questions, make comments, say hello to everybody, just as it normally works. Most importantly is that you all get to enjoy the show and you're going to take something from it, which is why it's called Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Dr. Rebecca Foster. She also goes by RL. But let's go ahead and bring her on, say hi. We'll just throw her to the wolves and just let it go from there. So, hi,
Hello.
Rebecca. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So as we go, Mr. Stewart. Hey, what's up, Stewart? He's saying hello from Texas.
Hello, how are you?
So he's the old timer that normally pops in to say hi on the show. So I'm glad he's able to make it. Sometimes he's been working a little later, so I'm happy to see he's able to make it back into some of the shows. And as he says, he is a multiple offender. So yes. Um, Nikki is saying hi to you. Welcome back to the
Hi,
show.
Nikki, how are you?
So I normally like to tell people how we met. And there are a few new watchers that are popping in that will be popping in. I found you, man, it's been over a year now.
It's been
Because
a
you were on,
long time. It's
I say
been
it's been a
longer than
while.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
say it's been a while, and I found you online.
Mm-hmm.
I literally stumbled across you as someone who was recommended to be a friend, and I said, "Hey, I like what you do. I like what you talk about. I like your stuff that's on your. We seem to be copacetic with each other,
Uh-huh.
and it was your fault. You said yes, so you have no one else to blame but yourself. The fact that you said yes when you clicked accept. So just remember that. But this is your second time coming on my
Mm-hmm.
show.
Yeah,
The first time you came on, you were in a totally different city. I
I
mean,
was.
you were doing different things and everything else.
Yes.
So do me a favor. The only question that everyone knows I ask, I'm going to ask you again because we have new people. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
do me a favor and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and how you got into it. In the meantime, I'll be throwing up people that are saying hi to us. So
Okay, all right. Well, I can talk, so.
yeah.
So again, I'm Dr. Rebecca Foster. I am a clairvoyant medium that I have been practicing for 39 years. I'll 40 this August. Um, I have, it's a gift from God. I've had it since I was little, about 4 years, about the first time I really started using it. Um, I am also a remote viewer. I am an animal communicator, a medical intuitive, and anything that God throws at me and says, do it, I do it. And I also have my PhD. I'm a certified life coach, and I am a holistic practitioner. Um, and what else? Oh, I am also a licensed tattoo artist
Hey,
in
don't forget the tattoo artist part. So,
Iowa, and I own a shop where I do all of my holistic stuff here in Iowa. Yes, that's me.
so are you closer now to Cedar Rapids? Is that where you're closer
Yeah,
to?
I'm like 20 minutes now from Cedar
Oh, okay.
Rapids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, before you were closer to me, now you went further away.
I
So,
was only an hour and a half from you. I was
yeah,
just west of Des Moines. Yep.
yeah. And now you're like, look, Tom's too close. That's no bad enough. I got to move this way.
Well,
So, yeah,
you know what, you and Nicole, it's only like a 4 hour drive for you guys.
it is, and
Hmm.
we actually know a handful of people up in that direction too. So,
It's golden. See, there you go.
and already, and Nikki, I know you're listening because I can see her on here, but I've already talked to her about having her do your tattoo work for some of the stuff.
Send
So,
me what you want. I'll draw it up.
see,
Absolutely.
there you go. So we're
Yeah.
set. So since the last time we talked, which is actually about 9 months ago, roughly, um, you've done a move.
Hmm.
You've kind of taken on a couple of different projects. Are you first off? I want to know: are you writing any more books?
I, my last, well, yeah, since I've moved, I published my dissertation for one because it was so informal. It was so informing for drug addiction and incarceration. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to put that out there for people, because otherwise, you have to look and find like journals and so forth to find it. So I put that out there because I thought it was a really good read, and it's just meaningful. But then also, I don't even have it with me, but I put out a book called The Book of Response, and it came about because a friend of mine she wanted readings right now. She
Yeah.
wanted a reading now. And I said, you know what? I need to do a book that actually gives people readings and not this like yes, no mumbo jumbo.
Hmm.
So I spent a long time. I created what I thought was originally going to be just a book of flip through and there's your reading. But then it turned into a 366-day devotional. And it's really cool because it's got all of the days of the year, including, for leap year.
Including my birthday, yeah.
Exactly. And then I would hear, okay, do this reading and put it on April 4th or December 25th, whatever the reading was. So I would throw a reading on a page. Then they said, when I thought I was done, they being my guides, God, add a picture on the opposite page that correlates to that reading.
Hmm.
Okay. Then put a verse, biblical or from any religion.
Hmm.
Put a verse at the bottom of each page. Okay, all right. Do you know how much editing? Every time I thought I was done, it
They
wasn't
said,
done.
nope, that's something else.
But
Yep.
I'm going to tell you what, it's the coolest. It is the coolest book that when you are not distracted and you take this book and you put your hand on it and you really think of that energy through you and out your hands and on into that book, and then you just close your eyes and flip when
Yeah.
you're told to stop. I'm telling you, the most I do it too when I'm thinking, because I can't read myself, and every now and then I'm gonna go grab the book, and I hear, don't get the book, Rebecca, and I'm like, I'm gonna get the book. And so I'll get the book, and I'll just flip through, just kind of get like a vibe for the day, and am I on the right track kind of thing. It's just, that was my last one. It's really cool. So I have a total of 5 books out right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I wanted to let people know, I just underneath us, I did put your name because it also attaches to your website, which is www.godstool.com.
Yep.
And anything that they want to know about you or where to find materials or anything else is all going to be located on this one site.
Yes, it's all there. All the links, everything to find me on social media. That is the one go-to page. Everything. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Kathy asked a question, and I don't. You get to answer this one because you know how people find you. She is asking, how would someone go about finding someone like you near her? What would I Google, like holistic doctor, or what would they be Googling to try to find?
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I'm the only one that I know of me. I'm the only one.
Well, there you go.
And the reason being is because I mean, that's a whole other show, but my whole purpose is to serve God. That's it. That's my purpose. And he has gifted me with this ability to be able to help people on their current pathway. That's originally the whole plan, was help people to discern and guide them on their path, help them with their past life issues, help them with their current things, help them with the potential for their future. And so that's what I've been doing my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2010, I've always wanted to own my own shop of like soaps and candles and stuff. So I started Sweet Pea Candle in 2010. So I also had this whole line of soaps and lotions and bath bombs and all this stuff that I make that's natural, holistic. And I started it too because my aunt had cancer. So she really couldn't use a lot of things that were fragranced. So it was for babies and people who had sensitivities. So there was that. I'm like, great, there's the beginning of my shop.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, I'm not done. I need to go to school and get my doctorate, and I want to do this, and I want to help here, and I want to do that. But then I wasn't done. And I decided to help at the local school. And now I'm a tattoo person. I love tattoos. So in 2020, my whole stimulus check went to my friend who was considered a required business to stay open. She had a business, a tattoo shop. So I get covered in tattoos, and then I move away from Wisconsin, and I said, I need to tattoo. I need to do that. I need to learn how to do this. I'm already an artist. I need to know how to tattoo.
Right.
So I'm very independent. I don't want to work for anyone. I don't want someone telling me what to do. So this whole time, I'm just tattooing here and there. I'm not working for a shop. I go to work for a middle school. And there was reasons for this. I go to work for this middle school. Now I have got my doctorate. I have my MBA. I have all of this education, and I go in as an associate. I am a peon in the school and the eyes of everybody there. It was God humbling me. Like, he put me there for a reason. And every day I go, why would you do this? Like, why did you do this to me?
Right.
Why? I mean, they think I'm trash. These people think that I'm just nobody. It was humbling.
Yeah.
Um, and while I was experiencing that, I ran across a bunch of these young girls in middle school who were cutters.
Mm.
And I said, hey, when you're old enough, you come to me and I'm going to cover all of that. We're going to put it all, we're going to lay it to rest. There we go. I need my own shop, because there isn't a tattoo shop out there that is going to let me do free tattoos for people. They're not going to let me do my readings. They're not going to let me bring my soap, and I need to have my own place.
Right.
So then, on top of it being a medical intuitive, I help people with medical issues. And I thought, now on top of that, I need to go and become a holistic practitioner. So then I went and became, I'm going to get my licensing for it too, because right now it's certification. I'm totally certified, but I want to be licensed. And so I'm going to push that a little bit further, finish that. I'm getting my natural holistic food aspect, like nutrition. And then I'm also getting another certification so I can combine it all. And then I run this holistic shop. I
Nice.
don't know. The problem is that people get into the business of mediumship and psychics because they want to be on TV and they want to be
Right.
rich. And the sad truth, and Tom, you may know this, there are so many people out there that are not legit.
Mm.
And
Yes.
they make stuff up in their head and think that they're reading for people, and they're not. And you
Right.
have to be careful of that, because I come across it and I sit there and think, okay, I know you're not real. I'm not going to call you out. I'm just going to block you
Right.
because
Right.
I don't want any association with that. So I don't know how you find people like me, because I don't know. You would have to call around and find a medium or a psychic or a I don't know. But I can tell you this. Because I grew up in Chicago, that's where I started doing all of this. When I moved away from there, I had to continue. I had a huge clientele and I had to continue reading for them. And I read for 99.9% of my clients via telephone, because I read for people in Singapore, Germany, across the pond, Australia. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for something like that, we can do video calls, we can do phone calls.
Yep.
I'm not restricted to in person. I actually prefer the distance. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
mhm,
Like Nikki and I have someone locally here in Omaha that's really good. We call
mhm,
her. We tell people that she's magical. When we
mhm.
go ask her to see her, because she's a healing touch person.
Oh, there you go.
So
That's awesome.
that's where Nikki would go to when she was needing help through a lot of the cancer stuff and everything else, or
Yep.
because she can help move stuff around and help do some of the healing and stuff like that. And she's fantastic.
That's fabulous.
In fact, I'll even say her name is her name is Suzanne Malik. She's the owner of Internal Whispers, and she's out here in
Nice.
Omaha. And I would recommend anyone to her. But going back to what you said about the scam artists, or the ones that don't know what they're doing and stuff like that, I want to bring this up to you because it's good you brought this up, because I talked to you about, I was at Mystic Fest recently, and a lot of people came up and asked me, why do you do the house cleanings for free? Why don't you charge money for this? If
Mhm.
this, and I, first off, and then they also ask, um, why do you make us fill out so much paperwork for assistance? So for both of those answers, I kind of run down and said, well, the paperwork's covering me first off, because it is part of a business, but it lets us know that you're for real. that you want to go through the process of filling out this whole long questionnaire because you really need help, and you're just not one that's come out there to find out that you have a raccoon in your wall. But it also lets us put our team together with who needs to be on the team. So we are a team of specialists with 27 different people that have abilities, but not all of our abilities are the same. So help us put stuff together. But the other part of that is when they said, well, how come you do this for free? My answer has always been, because this is what I'm supposed to do. I have a job that pays me money. But my director, Bill Slevin, gave me an even better answer. And this ties into what you're talking about. He said, my answer for them is why we do it for free is because if I walk into someone's house and they feel they have something and they are convinced, then I can walk in there and I can tell them, hey, you have a demon that's trying to attach to your child. And
Hmm.
for $10,000, I'll
Right.
go ahead and remove it.
It's
So,
horrible.
right. And he goes, that's what a lot of scammers will do. They're in it for the money. They're not in
Yep.
it for the help.
Yeah.
So this is why we know that we do it for free. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Um, but he does say, a lot of times we get people that offer, hey, I know you're coming away, so let me pay for your gas or whatever else. Perfectly acceptable. But we're not charging for our assistance to try to
Right.
clear something. Because,
Exactly.
and that's the same thing it is with a lot of the readers. A lot of the readers like, oh, well, I know this. Um, and I'll give you this little chunk of really obscure piece of information, but when you come back and pay me another $100, I'll be able to
Yeah,
focus
that's
more on it,
horrible.
right?
It's so bad. So bad. I mean, if somebody is going to withhold information until you pay them, they're not legit. They
Right,
are not, because they're not working for God. And that's part of it. It's like if God says, tell this person this, I'm not going to go, no, I'm not
right,
going to do that. I'm like, excuse me, here's my card. I'm not crazy. This is for you. But that's absolutely, and I do have people who say, well, if you are, if this is a gift from God, then why do you charge at all? Well,
it's just
because it's my
there's
livelihood.
still
It's
costs.
how
Yes.
if I do so many readings every year for free. It's
Hmm.
crazy. It is insane how much I give away.
Right.
And I do that because I believe in tithing and I believe in sharing your gift freely with people. And that's what I choose to do. It's when people say, I'd like something private. Okay, well, then that's what this costs.
Right.
And but for the most part, between my galleries, between just reading people for fun, and
Yeah.
that's which I prefer, because when I'm not paid, I'm able to just do things my way. There is no obligation. I can just go with the flow.
Right.
And like you
Right.
said, I don't charge to do
Yeah.
stuff in people's homes. I don't charge. If somebody says I need your help, I'm there. I will
Right.
go and do whatever you need me to do, because you can't you can't be like, I'll only fix it unless you pay me. Do you know how many
Right.
people have come to me and said, well, they said I have to do this to get rid of this family curse? I'm like, you don't have a family
Well,
curse.
and the curse. Right.
You don't have one. They're just stealing
Exactly.
money from you.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. They're gonna give you this little Kool-Aid colored thing and say, here, drink this, and it's gonna clear your curse away.
It's horrible what people get taken advantage of.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
was telling someone, there was a gentleman that his name was Donald. This was a long time ago. He had come to me for a reading. He had said that he had been dealing with Sylvia Brown. And anyway, so Sylvia had basically said that when you die, you go to heaven and have the best um, relations of your life.
Hmm.
And he was so devastated. His wife had passed away, and he was devastated that she was enjoying heaven and other people without him, that he wanted to go and take his own life.
Right.
And I was like, dude, where in the Bible does it say this? It doesn't. This is not the case. This is not what happens. That's a human physicality. That is a
Right.
human desire. That has nothing to do with higher selves and spirit. And he's like, oh, I never thought of that. And I'm like, don't take your own life. Your wife
Right.
is waiting for you.
Right. Right. Yeah. She
She
knows what's going
actually came
on.
through. Yes, but she did. She actually came through in the reading and relaxed this guy. But it was so sad because he was just willing to leave for that.
Yeah.
There's people that just they
Yeah.
ruin lives because people put a lot of stock into it.
And,
And
and it's because of their need to believe something so badly.
yeah,
You know, and it's
absolutely.
and, you know, and it's it's sad that that's kind of how people look at it. And then on the other side, I know you probably dealt with this too. On the other side, we actually had a lady come up to us, and she's like, "Well, I'm here. I don't really believe, but I'm here because I want someone just to tell me everything about me." And we're like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And she goes, "Well, I want them to be able to tell me what my name is. And I don't want to have to put my name down on a piece of paper because that gives them information. They should know what my name is already. They're psychics. They should." And I
Maybe.
was like, "Well, yeah, but if you want to get a reading here, you had to put a name down because there's a waiting list." So,
You could
and,
have put down like Mr. T for all that
right,
matters,
could
as
have put
long
down
as
anything.
she knows who you're going to call.
Right, but she just wanted to really make sure that no one there was a scammer. Like she was
Yeah.
so afraid of the scammer side that she went as far as to say, "Well, no, I should be able to walk up to you and you know my name." And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Well, sometimes there's more to it than that. There's, well, we can get you some information if the spirit are ready to talk, but sometimes silence is your answer. You don't always get an answer when something. I mean, I know people that do readings, and when someone pays them to do a reading, because that's their job, just like it is yours, and they get paid to do a reading, but nothing comes up, they're like, "I'm sorry, but feel, I didn't give you, I was very vague because they just didn't want to talk." And she gives them their money back. She's
Oh
like, "Look,
yeah,
I
no, I've
didn't
given
give you,"
people money back.
yeah, she's like,
Absolutely.
I don't give you this." So, I mean, so yeah. Oh yeah, Nikki said she wanted something like, the Long Island medium that would come up to her and give her a message.
Mhm.
But it was very interesting because she walked into the Mystic Fest and her first thing was, "Well, I don't really believe in this, but,"
I love when people say that
right,
because that I'm not one to test God. I'm not.
right,
However, when somebody says they're a non-believer, I will take anything that her guides will give me
hmm,
and throw it at that person right now. I'll tell them everything about themselves. I mean, that's the one thing I can shut it off. So I
hmm,
can completely shut it off. But when I go out to eat, if I'm tired and I'm sitting there and I'm bored, I will start reading the whole room. Like,
hmm,
and people be like, she's gone. Hey, Rebecca, come back to us because it's I don't know. It is just what it is. But I love when people say I'm a skeptic. I don't believe
yeah,
in this. Well, the great. Let me
yeah.
read you then.
That
Because
that seems to be when spirit is at its best. Because whenever I hear someone go, "I'm a skeptic," instantly I'm like, "Oh yeah," I hear like challenge accepted. Like to my spirit guys, they're like, "Hold on, let's flex for a second," and I'm like, "Uh-oh, you shouldn't have done that. You're gonna get more than you wanted to know." But
maybe. Yep.
yeah, but and Nikki calls for me. She calls me glazing over because she knows I'm listening. But when I'm listening to you talk and I'm also hearing spirit around me, I kind of do like the long distance stare.
Yes.
And she goes, "Okay, I know you're listening, but what are you getting?" You know?
Yeah.
So
That's exactly it. You
yeah,
completely you zone out. Your eyes shut off.
yeah. And she's like, "I
Mhm.
know." And for me, a big tell that she has found out, it's kind of different now. I've learned to control my head tilt, but it used to be whenever I was getting anything and my head would tilt, like automatically, like that was a switch. And she's like, "All right, you're getting something." So I didn't like the fact that she was finding out that I was getting something outside just a blank stare. So I started trying to control that head tilt.
That's
so,
so
so I
funny.
didn't have a tell anymore.
That's funny. A tilt.
Yeah, yeah. And then Rosie came out to see us at Mystic Fest. And she, yeah, kind of sounds like Tom when I went to visit. "Hey, are you listening?" So yeah, and it was the same thing. We were talking, and all of a sudden kind of had that blank stare, and it happened with a lot of people at the fest because it was just they'd come up and they'd just be asking questions about equipment or just random questions. "What do you guys do?" And then all of a sudden the voices would start coming, and I'm like, "Hold on a second, you can't leave yet. We need to talk."
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
get that like when I'm tattooing. Because of course I've got people in my, I've got people sitting for hours at a time, and
right.
a lot of times they forget I'm there. They'll bring someone with and they'll just have full blown, they just talk about everything.
Yeah,
And I'm off in la la land. But there are times when things come through or someone will come through. But I use it too to draw stuff for people. For instance, if they ask for something, then family will come through like that.
yeah,
And it's a lot of fun.
yeah. I was going to ask you that too when you were tattooing and you're just sitting there with the person. Um, you don't know why you're drawing what you're drawing, but sometimes I'm sure that you get messages that this tattoo is because of this. It
Yeah,
comes through.
there's that. I get that. But I create the tattoos vibing on the person that I'm doing that for. So I'll use whatever text message or their energy, and if they stop in the shop or something and they'll tell me, I want to get something on my forearm, I want some flowers, or I want this, and then I'll just take that energy and I'll vibe it and I'll put it together according to their energy.
Yeah,
So they're pretty cool.
yeah. Um, do you have a specialty in what you tattoo? I mean, like I know some people are realism, some people are
All of
very
it.
obscure, kind of whatever. So
I will do all of it. Absolutely. The only thing I won't do demons. I won't do devils. I won't do anything hateful. I won't tattoo well, hands, it's kind of heads. I will not do anything that is going to obstruct a
here's my
person's
latest one.
higher ability.
So
Hands I'll do, but hands come off. I try to tell people hand tattoos don't stay because the hands shed so fast.
yeah,
But everybody says, nope, I'm different. Okay.
yep.
Okay.
I
Who am
simply
I?
wanted it. I simply wanted it because I realized because it ties to my Native American side, so it's the three feathers and with the
Hmm.
bear claw, and then I have my cross on my arm, and then I have my Nordic shield, and
Okay.
I didn't realize it until I put the feathers on my hand that I literally put my entire lineage on one arm. I was like, holy
Oh,
crap! I
really?
put my whole lineage on one arm. I didn't even pay attention to it.
Oh,
So
that's hilarious.
so Nikki says yes. Oh my god, I want her to create a tattoo for me.
I'll do it.
And Miss Angie is kicking in to say hi. Hi, Angie. How are you?
Hi, Angie.
But yeah, so she's like, because she talked about it before, and then when she started reading more on your pages and stuff like that, she was seeing that you do stuff for the port and everything else, and she wants to
Yeah.
do a port and stuff like that. So she was like, well, she moved away, and I'm like, 4 hours. We got this.
Yep, I'm close. I'm not
Yeah,
that far. Only
yeah.
4 hours. It's an
We're
easy
about to.
drive up 80 and then up
Yeah,
380 and over.
yeah. I'm like, we're just about to drive up to Broadhead Manor up in Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure we can make this drive. So
Yeah, because literally, where you're going is probably by Janesville. It's like 2.5, 3 hours from here.
yeah, it's we're going to be staying in Janesville, which is like a half an hour away from Broadhead Manor. So
Hmm.
yeah, so yeah,
Yeah. Easy peasy.
yeah, absolutely. So there you go, Nikki. Now we have plans. Um,
Plans.
are you still with everything else that's going on and all your newfound this and that and everything else? Are you still working on people for doing the? I forgot how you phrased it, but it's basically helping people find out what's wrong with their bodies.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely do the medical intuitive stuff, you
That
mean?
one stuff. Yes.
Yeah. I have a lot of people who come to me specifically for that.
Yeah.
And I, when I'm working on, let's say, the life coaching aspect or a holistic practicing kind of perspective, I cover everything. And I've always looked at everything as far as like everything spirit trickles down to the mental, then you start to manifest it physically. And if it gets down here, you have to figure out what's going on up here that is affecting and causing this. So the holistic aspect has been just what I do for so long that I thought I have to at least get some kind of credentials that help support what it is that I'm doing on a book level. So
Right.
I have it on this portion and then the spiritual stuff coming through, and then it'll maybe make more sense to people.
Yeah.
And I like to help people figure out what is going on in their world psychically, spiritually, frequency wise, energy that is causing issues and ailments. And then at the same time, be able to work with their own practitioners, their own medical doctors, and say, hey, take this to the physician and find out what's missing here or how this is affecting you here.
Yeah.
And people go to the doctor when they're hurt. People go to a
Right.
psych or a therapist, when they have something mental going wrong. But they always fail to remember that you have a whole soul going on in there.
Yeah.
And that, I think one of the most important things for people to understand too, because I do look at when I'm doing this, I'm always looking at everything as really a medical perspective, period, because I've seen so many spiritual things affect people with anxiety or panic attacks, health wise. They can't breathe. They're having all sorts of issues. And so I always look at everything in a health related way. But one thing I can give everybody who's watching is something. Sorry, somebody's pulling on my energy right now because my eyes are starting to close, and that it just happens when I'm talking like this, and then it must be somebody in the group. But
Oh, it's probably going to be me because I have a question for you. But yeah.
okay,
So,
but one of the things that I think is so important and people really need to pay attention to is, as we know, we are 80 some percent made of water,
right.
and we are also spiritual beings, but we deal so much in frequency and vibration that I think people fail to remember this because they're so caught up in the earthbound aspect of who they are. And a piece of advice, this is a whole show on its own, like literally a whole entire show, but pay attention to what you are drinking. Pay attention to, for instance, vibration and frequency can cause, there's whole studies of this out there, whole studies not done by me, but by other scientists, that will record and show that water does indeed have memory.
Right.
And if you're trying to heal yourself, you can't hold your bottle of water and have a fight with your neighbor and then drink that water, because whatever you're feeling and saying is going right into the frequency, creating different vibration in the water. I literally, Tom, we could do a whole show on this, but if you want to start healing, drink water. Set a bottle of water on top of an Alexa and play some beautiful Chopin or Beethoven or something wonderful. Play lullabies if you want to go to sleep, because that water will go in and its molecular makeup completely changes, and then you absorb it like that.
Yeah.
The one thing is, this gentleman, he had taken this water and he put it in front of heavy metal music and like satanistic words and all this stuff. And when he took it and froze it, it furned in this like chaotic spasmo kind of a way. But the other stuff that was, he would sit there and say, "I love you," or he would talk to it in a beautiful way. And it had these amazing, different, beautiful snowflake. And it just, I think people fail to remember that we are frequency.
Yeah.
We hear more, we feel more than our eyes and our ears will ever discern. And if you want to get healthy, make sure you're not drinking like death water
Yeah.
or things that, you want to drink everything that has something to do with life. And I can't express that enough. I don't know why I'm being told to tell you guys that there must be somebody in your audience right now that is struggling with trying to not be so tired, maybe some fibromyalgia, and spirits like, hey, you need some healthy water, some clean water, and you need some electrolytes in there. So somebody here, is there a Jean or a Jan or somebody in here?
I don't know.
Interesting.
A lot of the people that listen don't reply.
Okay.
So a lot of times they just listen to us, which is fine. And then a lot of times you may be tapping into someone who's going to watch later, because a
Hmm.
lot of times the people who watch the recordings will comment to me afterwards. Um,
Awesome.
and Rosie said, yes, she says sometimes when I drink water, I whisper "I love you" before I drink it.
Yeah, you can sing to it, you can talk to it, you play beautiful music around it, and it really does help. It does. I have bottles of water. You know that you can buy the glass ones with a little lock lid on it,
Yep.
and I'll pour clean water into it, and they all have a label. And I will play music around them, and I'll put, okay, this is to go to bed, like sleepy water. This is energy water. This is, and I'll just put different frequencies around the water to
Yeah.
infuse it with proper, imbue it with proper
And
energy
so
frequencies. Yeah.
that's so confusing me then, because like for the past week I've been listening to 80s music at work, and I have my water bottle right next to it, so I don't know what it's trying to put into me right now. So
If you start wearing neon, then we know what happened.
we know what happened. Well, like, as a matter of fact. So I told you that might be me pulling at your eyes right now, because I my audience knows, my family knows I'm very upfront and very honest with them. If I have something going on, I'll share it with them.
Uh-huh.
Um, I went when we were at the first day we went. There's a gentleman that goes to a lot of the Mystic Fest and fairs and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
he's a shaman. I want to believe he's a Peruvian shaman. He's an older gentleman. His name
Hmm.
is Charlie. But when he goes through, like he basically will try to help pull the whatever's negative out of you, and he does his prayers to God and like help me pull this out and everything else, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was walking by, and it was before the show started. I said, "Hey, I need your help." I said,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm going to come over." So I go, "How much are you?" Because I got to come over and see you. And
Mm-hmm.
he knows me. We know each other and stuff like that. And he's like, "What's going on?" So I told him. I said, "My shoulder is killing me.
Mm-hmm.
Just my right shoulder's been down for like a month and a half." And I'm like, "So I need help." I said, "So I'm going to come see you. I'll come sign my." He goes, "Don't come here." And he starts doing it right there. And he's trying and he's trying and he stops and he looks at me and he goes, "You need to let go of that anger and that sadness that you're carrying." And I go, "Well," and I didn't say anything. I'm like, "Okay." And so I sat there and he tried again and he tried again and he came back up and he was crying. And he's like, "That is the saddest thing I've ever felt. I don't know what this is." He goes, "But you have to release it." So I explained to him about my time in the military and what I used to do and everything else. And I consciously, I don't feel it as guilt, but I'm sure subconsciously I do because I did a lot of bad things to bad people. Um, but it was so interesting because he's like, "I'm trying to help you, but you have to help yourself first." And he goes, "I'm trying to make it just so you can get through the weekend with the pain you have, but you have to find a way to release this." And I didn't know, I still don't know fully what it is or, how it's tied in, but I believe I know the symptom for it, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was just interesting because he was like, "That's affecting more than just your shoulder." He goes, "It's beating you up really bad." He goes, "But I can't get whatever it is to let go of you." He goes, "So you're gonna be in pain for a while until you find a way to release this." And I'm like, "Oh, interesting,"
Mm-hmm.
because I've never had to look at that, my physical pain, on a different level. I've never associated those two together. Even though you mentioned it before, I still personally, I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just hurt. I'm old. I did a lot of things. This is my shooting shoulder, so of course my shoulder hurts from all the times taking a beating for the butt of the gun and stuff like that." And he's like, "No," he goes,
Uh-uh.
"There's an anger and a sadness in there that you have to release." So it was interesting, and like I said, I don't mind sharing this with my family because they're my family, and I'm honest with them anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Um, it's interesting because as you were talking, I was thinking, okay, I'm watching you and I'm watching him do his work and
mhm.
attempting, and I swear it looked almost as if you had a gouge through your arm in like a
Hmm.
V of the whole arm gone and like a gape. So
Oh,
the fact that if that's the case and there is the way that they show it, a gape, a wound through the arm down, it's probably not from this lifetime.
hmm.
It would be something previously that you've dealt with, and if it was triggered or is tied to with any of the war experiences that you have, any of the military experiences you have, that would probably have something to do with the fact that, yeah, both times you've walked away and others haven't,
Yeah.
but this one you lost an arm, this one you didn't.
Hmm.
And I think if you can, I think it really comes down to realizing that you, okay, backing up again, I mean, I would do this if I were you. When you get a chance to just sit down and meditate, I would envision like looking down, like close your eyes, but envision looking down at your arm. And when you look down, your arm is almost severed all the way through, but it's hanging on by a thread under your arm, under here.
Okay.
And you can see it's the sinew, it's like it's just hanging on. I want you to see this and I want you to recognize it because this almost looks like it would be um I don't think we're talking, well, it could have been like Civil War-ish. It could have been the way that you look. I'm not sure what other wars. You think I would know all of these things? But I don't. But the dress attire looks similar to that. The wool feel of things as you take it off, it scratches.
Hmm.
But if you can envision that, I want you to re- acknowledge it. This is not from this lifetime.
Hmm.
And I want you to see if you can needle and thread
Hmm.
and sew your arm. Everything, every time you sew it, you're doing it with love and gratitude that you are here. You're going to do a thread and a stitch for forgiveness of yourself. You're going to do a stitch until it's completely brought back together, and each stitch that you do is going to have some kind of an impact for you. Like, you're going to have to forgive yourself of what you're holding against yourself, and part of it looks like survival. Another way to do it is to face your higher self and converse with your higher self while you're doing this, and
Mm.
have your higher self stitch that up.
Okay.
Because if you look at yourself subjectively, and your higher self will then tell you, dude, you need to do this, you need to stop that, you need to correct this is why. And your higher self will not lie to you either.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah. And unfortunately, as you're describing it, I know because of what I've done, I know exactly what that looks like that you're describing that arm looks like. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And it's, yeah, I understand it because I've been told by many people that many past lives I've always been a protector of some way, shape, or form of another. So that just, just another way of being a protector. So, yep. So, and it's interesting you said that too, that it's tied to something in my past because Primal wrote up, right shoulder is frozen as well here. I feel like my wing is broken from the ancestry. So hers kind of reads like mine does because mine's also my right shoulder as well. So,
Interesting. So her right shoulder is frozen, feels like a wing is broken from answer. Actually, her hers feels um I just have to see this a second as to what. I don't think it's all, well, it could be almost like a lamb led to slaughter is the only way I can put it, but you look very druid, you look very a Scottish almost.
hmm.
And it looks like you were not expecting this, but the way that they put it is they have you are brought to slaughter. You're laid on the table, and as you're like this guy is holding you at the shoulder, and the like arm on top of you holding, and this guy who is, and they're wearing like brown, long brown, almost look monkey at like a monk, as they've got a hood on and stuff. But the one on your right shoulder, he pushes you down, and almost like I can hear crack. So that feels like collarbone, all of this cracks, and your arm just kind of hangs to the side. I don't, and when they show me past life information, it's usually that because of an injury or because of something, a person, and yours is different, Tom, because they're
Right.
explaining why you're carrying it through this time, but because you've survived. But you wouldn't have lived through this. This would have killed you. This would also mean that on top of the shoulder pain that you're carrying and you're feeling, not only is it there, but it runs through the back shoulder blade on you into the little gougy place. There's a little tiny foramen where the nerve goes through the shoulder blade. And if you pull your shoulder forward like this and you get someone to dig right down in there, you're going to feel it, and it's going to feel good. But anyway, you on top of you dealing with that, you also have massive trauma karmically to overcome when it comes to trusting people. And that means in this lifetime you would also have dealt with somebody, multiple people probably, that you've had to face, and they've either abandoned or left or mistreated, lied, and you would have had to work through and get through those different relationships. But it's all tied back to this karmic thing that you're overcoming, and it's just lessons to overcome. It doesn't have to depict the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nikki has a question too. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Hmm.
Nikki has a question as well. She says, so I'm curious. I am having troubles with cramping in her feet, toes, hands, and up and down her spine. And she says, and Jean is my grandmother. So there's the J that you mentioned the letter J earlier.
Oh, okay.
And she said, J is my grandmother. So she's put that. But yeah, we'll be sitting here and all of a sudden, like her feet, her toes, her fingers, if she lays down, her back just locks up on her, just instantly goes into cramping and everything else. So
Okay, and that ultimately that feels spinal. That absolutely feels spinal, and it feels almost, again, we're electrical beings. So, Nikki, what I would say is make sure you are taking a minimum every day of your electrolytes. You have to have calcium, magnesium, potassium at a minimum to just make us function. We're like batteries. And when, we've got water in us, it's great. But if it's just water, we're screwed. We need sodium, magnesium, calcium, potassium. Those absolutely increase the ability of our body to conduct electricity and to keep our heart rate going, our brain function going. But this feels like right at your middle back. That's where this starts. And so do not bend over and twist. Don't do anything that is going to injure that mid to lower sacral vertebra, because for whatever reason, it's almost like something has happened there or blocked it. So I don't know if you have scar tissue, if you've had any work done on your back, if you've injured your back, but it just looks like there is something blocking how everything electrically works down there. It could be scar tissue, but whatever is going on, you can help with it by increasing what your body is taking. Even like pink sea salt, Himalayan sea salt, pink kind, that will also, it's so high in minerals. A half of a, I'm sorry, a quarter of a teaspoon of that in a warm glass of water with some lemon, that will absolutely help your body absorb things properly. It will help with your digestion, and it helps you lose weight too. But doing that, and I'm looking at the nerves, and it feels like it's not a neuropathy. It is an inability for things to conduct. And all of a sudden it's like crossing wires and it like shorts things out. So I would increase my electrolytes. Do not bend and twist. I would stretch, but also don't forget, a lot of people when their back hurts, what do? They bend over and stretch forward. But when you stretch forward, if you have any kind of disc problems, it pushes that disc jelly the wrong direction. So I suggest you get a good round pillow and put it below your back and just lay there for a little while, like kind of arch your back just enough to where you're getting some relief there. Even hanging upside down might help you if you can get one of those inversion tables.
hey, it's right behind me.
All right, there you go. An inversion table will absolutely help for a little while.
Yep.
But it doesn't feel like neuropathy. It feels like the nerves are okay. It's just they're getting pinched, and you need to counter that. Keep your electrolytes up for sure.
Yeah, and you called the spot. It's middle back is where she normally gets beat up at, right there.
Oh, that's not good.
Primal says thank you. Rosie wants to know what death water is. Rosie, there's literally a water out there that's called death water. It comes in a can and it says death water right on it. It's promoted and put out by a prior military person, and it's
good. I've had it.
It is, but it's not what's needed for your system.
Drink life water. Drink life water.
And Nikki says, interesting. I've always had back problems, but I started having this cramping during chemo and Keytruda.
Yep.
So
I was, and that was what I was going to say when you were first asking about it, is you're probably dealing with repercussions of what the chemo has done to your nervous system and to your body itself. All of the sheathing, everything that was there that was protecting and putting all of the guards up for those to not zap each other. It's like crossing wires when you shouldn't. So those look like they've been damaged from the chemo.
Okay. So
and it can repair itself. Get some vitamins, look up some stuff online and find out what, of course you're going to need some selenium. You're going to need all of those trace minerals. So go get something that you can drop, like little droplets you can drop in your water bottle, get your trace minerals there, the selenium, all of those things that you need to help with your nerve function.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Rosie says, okay, I have seen that. Always wanted to try that. I never guessed I did because my guides kept yelling no.
Yeah, and it's just water. It's just flavored
very
water.
Expensive water.
And it's good. It's just water.
Yeah, it's just water. Mm-hmm. But everybody who's watching, this actually answers a question I was going to ask you. because I know you do your readings and everything else remotely like this, and I was literally going to ask, hey, are you able to do your readings for medical stuff this way as well? And well, we kind of answered that question by having you do a handful of them that was not
Yeah, no, I can
planned.
do it anywhere. I don't
That
have
was-
to know. Yeah,
yeah,
no, I don't need to ask questions or anything. It's not me doing it. That's why. I
right.
just know how to see it and interpret everything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, that's. I mean, that's. I'm happy that we did some impromptu demonstrations
Yeah,
without planning those out.
those are fun. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I like them when they just pop in like that.
Yeah, and mine was like I said, I just kind of wanted to share because I was watching him pull, and he was just like, "What is going on here?" He's like, "There's just going on." Um, Nikki asked, "Did you have an event or an investigation at Edinburgh this weekend?"
No, not I did not. There may have been one there this weekend, but I did not. I'm supposed to be there in September. There's going to be ticket sales and stuff if it's still going to happen.
Yeah,
Edinburgh's like 5 minutes from my house, so it's
yeah,
pretty nice. Hmm.
yeah. So do you know up in that area? Do you know Kat Armstrong and Willie Armstrong? And she was one of the, I think she still is, but she's one of the people who actually gives like the tours through Edinburgh. Um,
No, maybe I've met her. The name sounds familiar, but
she's about 5'9", 5'10", dark hair, heavier set. Um, she's
I
like the one
may
who's
have
been,
met her. That sounds familiar, but I can't place it for
yeah.
sure.
She's also a paranormal investigator, but and um, she does have abilities, even though she doesn't like to share that with everybody.
Mhm.
So I just kind of spoiled that for her, but too bad. Suck it up, Buttercup. But she does. She's the one who does the tours through the place as well, and so she just. I was just wondering if you guys ran into her. Nikki was saying she was just wondering though
You know
because
why? That was from
on your
last year. I
webpage.
haven't taken it off.
Oh, well, that could be why.
I was there June 8th of last year. Yes. I was
Oh,
there June 8th of last year.
well, there we
Yeah.
go. So mystery solved.
Yeah.
So,
So I should
uh,
probably get on and change that.
oh no, Nikki, we can't go get tickets to that one again. I mean, I
September,
know.
I'm supposed to be there.
I
Yeah.
mean, I know we talk about parallel universes and time jumps forward and backward, but that's not one we're going to be able to reach. So,
Exactly.
sorry, we're not going to go back to that one.
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, I I have more questions, but I know that we're trying to limit our time a little bit for tonight.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go too far into the rabbit hole.
I
But
get it.
yeah, but so
There's so much to
you,
talk about.
let's,
I could talk for hours. It's
I,
yeah. It's
I
just
know.
it's one of those topics that.
So let's talk about this. That this is a little sidetrack. We're going to squirrel moment here for
Uh-huh.
Rosie. Um, we have a full moon coming up shortly.
I know.
What's your expectations with the full moon?
It's horrible. I looked up at the sky last night and I went, crap, that's why I can't sleep. I'm like, oh, and I even put that on Facebook.
I
Get
saw
ready
that.
to howl.
I
Yep.
saw that. Yeah.
Yes, because and then I laid in bed last night staring at the ceiling like, oh my gosh, I can't sleep. I hate this. And then after the full moon, I'll just pass out. I won't even wake up once. But about 5 days beforehand, for me, I wake up, all the lunatics out there.
Yeah.
And I think this is a high energy full moon. So I also think that it's affecting that pull is also affecting people. They don't realize if people would pay more attention to who they are on a soul level
Yeah.
and that they are influenced by the push and the pull of the way that this world works, I think we would live in a much better place. But people take these crazy things that are going on during the full moon and all the new moon, and they run with it and think, oh, it's just who I am.
Right.
No, you're being affected by these things, and this is an especially difficult one. I think it's problematic. um I think it's also negatively affecting technology. I
Yeah.
think it's
I,
having a play on that.
I think that's also having to deal with some of the stuff that people aren't talking about with the sun shift too. So that's my weird world that I. Oh look, there we go. Kathy's zoned in on it. What about all these solar flares?
Yes, and like literally that's a rabbit hole, but
Oh yeah, it is.
that is a whole rabbit hole to go down. I I'll be driving and I'll say something and my kids will go, well, that's because this is the Truman Show. And I was like, I know. So even my 11-year-old, my kids all know
Yeah.
that there is so many not real things going on right now. And we'll be driving. Like this woman pulled out in front of me today, literally almost killed us. We were doing at least 60 miles an hour, and she pulled out in front of us and then slowed down. I went off the road, and my kids are like, filler, just a filler. And I was like, I know. Oh my God, why? With all the fillers? Because
Right.
that's how I maintain my cool when I'm driving. Like,
Yeah.
okay, filler,
Yep.
not real.
Yep. Not real. Not real. So
I,
to answer, so really quick thing for Kathy and for anyone out there that's paying attention. You're asking about the solar flares. I'm not going to go deep into this because I have another question I want to ask you. But we are now witnessing some of the largest solar flares
huge.
that have ever been recorded.
Yeah, they're like exploding.
Yeah, they're monsters. Okay, so Rosie wants to know, what are your thoughts on runes for tattoos?
As long as they're meaningful to you, because remember, every tattoo is a talisman.
Right.
Whatever you put on your body, it has an effect on who you are. And so you want to put things that are meaningful, that make sense to you. And I do a lot of that stuff. I do a lot of it because people associate, also with past life. I think tattoos can reawaken part of you. I think that they can make you feel closer to a really great life. Like, look at, Tom, your arm.
Didn't even pay attention to it till after it was done. I was like, holy crap, I just did that to my arm. So,
They're healing. They can be so healing. And I'm happy to do runes. I'm happy to do tarot cards on people if it's meaningful, if it is beautiful, and it helps them to look at that and go, reminder, reminder of this, or reminder. But reminding people that tattoos are talismans,
right.
and they become a part of you. So you
Yeah.
always want to make it meaningful, beautiful, and if it's not, we can always cover it. So
Yeah. Which
yeah,
is which is going to be interesting because I showed you my whole arm earlier.
yeah.
Um, and what I'm going to do around it, I have someone in mind, because what I want to do around all of these is he's gonna do lightning through
Oh yeah.
all the way down the arm around all of them.
Yes.
So yeah, so I think that'll be very good on connecting them all.
That would be
It's
super
through the
cool, filling
lightning.
it in.
So yeah, it's through the lightning. Um,
Excellent.
and Stuart actually answered that one for Rosie as well, along the same lines. As long as you know what they say or mean. So
Mhm.
and so I have one more question for you before I let you go.
Yeah.
Because you're the one who brought it up. You
Yes.
mentioned that you mentioned tarot cards. Do you use anything when you do any of this, or is it
Never.
you?
No. And that's because I try to adhere as closely to like biblical prophecy and spiritual gifts as possible. And when I first started reading, I did use tarot cards. So this was before I had really been awakened to what I was doing. And I when I was 28, pretty much the doors to hell opened up to me. And this woman, this little old lady who did Bible readings, I can't even tell you how I found her. I have no idea. But she's like, Rebecca, you don't talk about God in any of your readings. And I'm like, no, I don't. She said, that's your problem.
Mm,
So he's going to show you this gift that he gave you. He's going to show you what it's like if he's not around. And I was like, oh, hell no. I sold those with a warning on eBay for like $400.
really?
I did, and I've never touched another one ever. She basically said, "You don't need tarot. You don't need anything. It's your crutch." And I didn't. I didn't even know what the cards meant. I just was able to read them, and so I don't use anything to read. It
Yeah,
all just comes through.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's interesting because I bought two sets. I bought a Native American set and a Norse set for me.
Hmm.
But I bought them simply out of curiosity.
They're beautiful.
But
It's
when I
awesome.
read them, I don't use them. I mean, every once in a while I'll think, oh, maybe I'll pull a card today just to see what randomly it says.
Yeah.
But I realize I don't use them. So
No.
I really bought them for nothing because I feel the same way for myself. I feel like
Yes.
I am my best source of information
Yes.
than anything else that can be put in front of me.
Yep. And
So
that's it.
yeah,
Everybody is connected to that source. That's the thing. Everybody has that connection to God, to spirit, to Yahweh, to the Akashic records.
yeah,
Everybody's connected. You don't need anything to do this. You just have to do it to learn how to do it or
Yeah.
reawaken to it. That's it.
Yeah, and I'm going to point this out because your name's scrolling down along the bottom again at www.godstool.com. I'm
Mhm.
also reading it out loud because some people only listen to us, not watch us. So
Uh-huh.
I'm making
Yeah.
sure that they have your site as well. There's also stuff out there that because you actually have posted your stuff on one of the sites. I don't remember what it is. Nikki says it all the time. I think it starts with a D, but it's one of the places you have some of your teachings, your classes. It's like $15 a week.
Oh, Udemy.
Udemy, that's what it is. I knew there was a D in
Udemy.
there somewhere. I knew there was a D
Yes.
in there somewhere. Udemy, but it's only like 10, 15, $20 for your classes, but you
Yeah.
teach a lot of the information, which is fantastic because they're very inexpensive.
Well,
But
let me make this even better. Let me
okay,
just stop you right there. Let's make this even better. So the classes that I put on there, I did 52 weeks of videos to help people for a full year of spiritual growth. So I had done that originally for my members only, that I had this big group that it was a members only thing, and it was a pay to get in because they got everything for free.
right,
And so they would pay like $4 for the year. I know, isn't that stupid? And then they would get in. So I put all these videos out there, and after all the memberships finally just ran out in June, I took them all and I posted them for free in my group on Facebook. So you
well there
can
you go.
get in. You don't have to do Udemy. You can just get in for free and look at all 52 videos.
Well there you go, people. See, there it is.
Yep.
Um, and Chris says, I think he says it says I've already been taking the classes, so I think he's beginning to take the classes.
Oh,
Um, And then Rosie, you've already had a vote that you have to come back. So Rosie's saying she definitely has to come back. Oh, there you go. Yeah, he says I've been taking the classes. So there he goes.
excellent. Excellent. That's, is that, I'm not sure if that's the same person, Chris.
Chris Donner.
Yeah.
So yeah. So and Kathy says, well, thank you for that. So
Yeah.
fantastic. So there you go. All right. So we did close. We're about an hour, 2 minutes. So I kept it pretty close to an hour that we wanted to stay at.
Thank you. Excellent.
Absolutely. Okay, so for everybody else, again, right down here, Dr. Rebecca Foster, www.godstool.com. I'm going to push you backstage. If you can stay around, I'll talk to you for a couple of minutes. If not, I understand because you have another life outside of just talking to me.
It is. Yes, I definitely. I was like, I know that my kids are like, I can hear them. So
Yeah.
they're.
So, but if not, I'll just send you a text or whatever else. But if I close the show down, you're still there, I'll pop in and say hi. If not, I'll send you a text. So,
Perfect.
all right, everyone say goodnight. Say goodnight. Night.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate you having me too.
Absolutely.
All your viewers and listeners, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, but I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
All right, everyone, that's the show. Let me hide her stuff and bring mine back up really quick. If you're new, here's all my stuff. I make it very simple for anybody. Everything falls under stuff I never learned. It's Facebook, stuff I never learned. YouTube, at stuff I never learned. Kick, stuff I never learned. Twitch, Instagram, stuff I never learned. And my email address is literally stuffineverlearned@gmail.com. So I had to make it simple for me to remember, so that way it's easy for you to remember. You can email me whenever you want. Feel free to ask questions. If you have questions for Rebecca and you don't know how to get a hold of her, or you forgot, but you have questions or you're too shy to ask her, send me the question or send me the comment and I'll send it on to her. She and I are friends. I'll make sure she comes back on again. So that's perfectly acceptable. I don't care. I'm good at passing on messages and everything else. Quick update. I am not doing a show this coming week because I will be gone for work. And it gets rougher after that, people. I apologize. But I have a show on the 23rd of June. Please come for that one. That one is going to be a gentleman by the name of Joe Frankie. He actually studied underneath the Warrens. He was basically like their son. And we'll have a lot of great stuff to talk about. He's going to be a fun one to talk to. You'll really enjoy us because we basically think we're related in some way, shape, or form. And you'll understand why when you come to the show. But that's on the 23rd of June. That's my next show. So I will see everybody in 2 weeks. If I don't hear from you between now and then, stay safe. Much love. Make sure you bring everything you can to the world that'll help the world out. And I will see you all in 2 weeks. I will post his show right before it posts, probably a couple days before. So look forward about the 20th or 19th or 20th. and I will go ahead and make sure that gets out to everybody as a reminder. Other than that, much love. I'm going to Camp Lejeune out in North Carolina. If you live in that area and you want to say hi, I'm going to be out there for a week to include a weekend. So if you want to meet up, say hi, then feel free. Contact me, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to come out and see you if you're in the local area. Other than that, much love. Stay safe. Talk to you later.